Hey everybody, what's up? I thought I'd kind of give you an update of what's going on with the update on the Jack Swagger situation. This is a this is a big update. Well, sort of big because you probably heard about this already. But according to numerous sources, on March 12th, Jack Swagger is scheduled. On March 12th, Jack Swagger is scheduled to appear in court in Gallup, Mississippi, I believe, on March 12th of next month. And if convicted, Jack Swagger could face a fine on all three charges: speeding, DUI, first DUI offense, and possession of marijuana. Altogether, all three fines amount to almost $1,700 to nearly $1,800. Yeah. And that's my dog in the background. But yeah, they would basically face a fine. Basically, all three fines combined would be around $1,700 to almost $1,800. Now, to someone like Jack Swagger, that's probably chump change, maybe. But to someone like us, that's a lot of money. That's like basically taking my 4 checks that I get. That's basically like taking 2 months worth of my 4 checks that I get on the first 3 days of each month, and that's how much he's got to pay. Literally. Hold on for a second. Sorry about that. My dog was barking. I had to get her away from barking. She's barking at people walking by. But anyway, like I said, combined together, that is a total of, like I said, basically it's a total of nearly $1,700 to $1,800. And to someone like Jack Swagger, that may not be much, but to people like us, it is. I mean, like I was saying, that's basically taking both checks of mine, both Social Security checks of mine, that I get every first 3 days of the month. That's basically taking my Social Security SSI checks, if you SSI, SSDIs, whatever you want to call them, and essentially that's taking 2 months worth of those combined together, and that's how much he's got to pay. Or something like that. That's essentially taking somebody's paycheck that they would make of, let's say, on a good average, maybe $500 to $600. That's like taking essentially 2 months worth, or yeah, basically about 2 months worth, just like my Social Security or someone's welfare. That's like taking that much that they get, and that's how much he's got to pay, combined together. Now, the thing about this is, if he's convicted, like I said, of all 3 charges, that he's got to pay that amount. And there's a possibility he could lose his license for 90 days, and there's a possibility he could face 48 hours worth of jail time. However, he can avoid the possible jail time, even though it's 48 hours, if he goes to counseling, in other words, DUI counseling, for what's happened. So yeah, So yeah, all this together is basically what's ahead of Jack Swagger. But what's ironic about this is, according to a former head writer or former writer at WWE, the former writer at WWE said that the DUI is not going to stop this storyline from occurring. That this is basically a pet project of Team VKM, and that it's doing what The Rock's not doing, and that's creating buzz for WrestleMania. So basically, according to this former writer, this storyline will still go forward. Not a DUI and all that will not stop it, because it's getting them buzz for WrestleMania, while The Rock, who's supposed to get them buzz, is not. And speaking of this, the storyline apparently is going to still go forward, like I mentioned, and the reason for this is because the WWE has invited Glenn Beck, that's right, Glenn Beck, to show up on Raw in some capacity and basically retaliate or talk to the WWE Universe about his side of things, about the way he sees things because of what he said this past week. So WWE is cordially inviting Glenn Beck to come on to Raw and say something. And some people, one person in particular, when this news first broke, one person said that this could blow up in Vince McMahon's face. We'll have to wait and see. But apparently they're still going to go forward with this, despite what Glenn Beck says, and according to what the head writer said, former head writer said, despite the DUI, they're still going to go forward. However, the outcome could change. In other words, Swagger could lose, and you could have Ziggler cash in. But apparently they're still going forward with the storyline. But that's basically what's going on with Jack Swagger and his situation. And we'll just have to wait and see what occurs. So let me know what you guys think down below. I'll talk to you later.